It's fine.
Okay, you are able to see, right?
Right.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll just make an announcement.
Slide share. You make it slide share. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I like to invite the speaker, Dr. A. Amarender Reddy, who will talk about future of dryland agriculture. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, madam. Can I start now?
Yeah, please start.
Okay. Actually, I am Amarender Reddy, principal scientist with Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture. We are basically specializing in dryland agriculture. You all know that most of these dryland farmers, especially from Vidarbha in Maharashtra, Telangana, parts of Telangana, Mahbubnagar district, and parts of Andhra Pradesh, Anantapur, and all these are majority of the agriculture land or dry lands. So wherever there is a lot of dry lands, and wherever these people depends on agriculture, in those circumstances, the farmers distress is much higher. You are seeing since last 10 or 20 years, the hot belts of farmer suicides are in Vidarbha, which are mostly drylands with no irrigation facilities. Also in Mahbubnagar districts of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Anantapur districts of this Andhra Pradesh. So these dryland, no, don't move. So no, my outline of next slide. Next slide. Okay. My outline of presentation is concepts of dryland agriculture. So what is the definition? What is the concept of dryland agriculture? We all know generally we thought that the dryland agriculture is a rain-fed agriculture or something which is constrained by the soil moisture or water, constrained by the water basically. And but we will conceptually we will understand what will be the dryland definition, correct definition with these slides. And what is the world and Indian area under drylands? You see world area, you just some of the African countries, some of the ASEAN countries, India, even some parts of the Bangladesh, and even some parts of the Australia, some parts of America. All these are some drylands are spread, and within India, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra. So this even Gujarat, Rajasthan. So Gujarat, Rajasthan up to below this, the Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. So these are all the states which are known for drylands or rain-fed agriculture. I will come later. And what are the main problems of the drylands? Oh, and as a central institute, central government institute, Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture, we have done a lot of initiatives, to reduce this, moisture stress or reduce the drought conditions, vulnerability conditions. There are some, contingency plans whenever there is a drought occurrence or whenever there is a drought spell or a dry spell, prolonged dry spell or monsoon failure. Under those circumstances, what farmers has to do, we as a CREDA, Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture, we developed some technologies. I will show what are those technologies, what will be the benefits. And managing droughts, how we can manage droughts, how we can manage late onset of monsoons, how we can manage the early withdrawal of some monsoons. These are all type of management techniques. I will next. So this, the importance of dryland agriculture, even in the best possible scenarios, irrigation development will reach about 40% of the no or 40 or 50% of the total cultivated land. That means still about 50% of the cultivated land remain as a rain-fed agriculture. Rain-fed agriculture is nothing but a dryland agriculture. So 50% of the our agricultural production still depends on uh, the rain-fed agriculture, the dryland agriculture. So importance of dryland agriculture is much higher. And for example, two-thirds of our animal livestock population, like goatry, sheep, or even cattle, all are no based on drylands or rain-fed agriculture. With the missing demand for there is a rising demand for foods. So that so if we intensively cultivate irrigated lands, even then we cannot meet entire our food requirements, growing food requirements only from the irrigated areas. We have to produce more and more food from even on dryland agriculture, even though productivity is about less than half that of the irrigated land. So, in terms of livelihood, in terms of food production, is that the importance of rain-fed agriculture or dryland agriculture is much important. Application of new science tools in rain-fed agriculture opens up new vistas for development through watershed management. So, if you say that rain-fed agriculture or dryland agriculture, there is no importance of water is a myth, because water importance of water starts from the rain. So, rain-fed agriculture means whatever the water falling, water falling in rain-fed areas, that all has to be conserved. That moisture, the water has to be conserved in the soil. Soil moisture has to be maintained. For example, all the monsoon, just monsoon is going to start. July, June, July, August, September. The monsoon, 99% of the water rainfall comes from these 4 5 months. But we have to conserve. But generally crop duration, pigeon pea or cotton, any major crop you see, at least the crop duration is 6 months. If you want to cultivate two crops, the soil moisture is very important. Soil moisture should be there at least for 9 months. But the monsoon rains comes only in 3 or 4 months. So we have to conserve this water, rainwater, for these 3 months, and that will be used in watershed development or farm ponds, whatever the check dams, whatever these watershed technologies are there. With those by using those technology, we can increase the availability of water post rainy season. After rains set off, means by September, all the the monsoon will be closing. After September, we have to use this conserved water to increase soil moisture, to increase the crop productivity, to increase double cropped area or something like that. That's very important. That technologies are there now. If conservation of natural resources goes wrong, nothing else will go right. MS Swaminathan. Because why? Because in the rain-fed areas, most important crucial resources is water. Water is a natural resources. This coming from the rain. So if you conserve this water, then only you can increase productivity. You can able to cultivate crops in those lands. Next. So this why we are because desertification and land degradation, recent years, last 10 or 20 years, there is a lot of desertification is taking place, because most of the lands we are over exploiting water. We are cultivating monocrops like paddy and wheat, and we are digging more and more uh, something I think I should go. Okay. Huh? So I can talk. So per capita, this desertification and land degradation at loss. These because we are cultivating monocrops, paddy and wheat. We are exploiting over exploiting water, especially even in the most drought prone areas like Maharashtra, and we are not following minimum distance between two bore wells because we have to conserve water. So we are not able to practice the uh, soil and water management techniques over the years. We are just focusing on profits, but we are not focusing on conserving soil and water. So as a result, what is happening? Even that is one case. The another thing is per capita land availability is in India is just 2.24 hectares. 0.24 hectares, less than 1 hectare. And whereas the world it is more than 3 to 4 times when compared to India. Per capita agricultural land is also very less in India, just 0.12 hectare when compared to world it is 3.3 hectares. So both per capita land and per capita agricultural land both are less in India, and that means we have to use effectively these very limited land resources in a more productive way. So that means we have to conserve more soil and water in a by using more modern technologies. There are number of technologies which are available. I will come and discuss in my next. You can please next. So rain-fed agriculture in India current scenario. No degraded resource base, low organic matter and low nutrients. For example, in temperate regions, temperate means, for example, America, where the temperature, annual temperatures are less than 12 degrees centigrade or something like that. There, the organic matter content in the soil is much higher, more than 1% or 2%. But in India case, it is less than 0.25 organic matter content. But ultimately, the organic matter content is much, much important in agricultural land productivity, crop productivity, and overall sustainability. Because our temperatures are too high, the organic matter, it's decomposed and it will go, into air as a carbon dioxide in the not, high temperate zones. So that is a big problem, degrading our natural resources, our organic matter. That's why now save soil movement is coming. We have to increase our organic matter content in the soil from 0.25 to at least zero point 0.5, or if not 1%, at least we have to increase by 0.5%. That is our main aim. And diverse climatic conditions, soil types and cropping systems. So in India you see the humid climate situation is there, like the Orissa, Bihar, eastern parts. Almost throughout the year, there will be rainfall. Rainfall will be like 2000 mm, something like that, huge rainfall. Whereas our desert areas means Gujarat, Rajasthan, even some parts of Maharashtra, Karnataka, even some parts of Tamil Nadu, drought conditions are there year after year. So this type of varying conditions, drought conditions are there in India. We have to look into all these location specific conditions and develop location specific strategies, location specific technologies. Poor economic status of the farmers. Why? Because it's very important. Because whenever you increase, you try to increase soil fertility, but there is a trade-off between increasing soil fertility and profitability. If a farmer try to increase soil fertility, natural resources, etc., through natural farming a good example. whenever you do the natural farming, you are seeing the Sri Lanka case. The productivity levels will reduce by 30 to 40%, sometimes even 50%. But if you use more chemical fertilizers, your productivity will increase, but your sustainability is unquestionable because lot of chemicals, lot of fertilizers, lot of pesticides, all these will damage the soil health and also human. And sometimes what happens, poor economic condition of the farmers cannot, poor economic conditions, small land holdings, these two together force farmers to use more and more cheaper fertilizer, cheaper pesticides, which are little bit of harmful to the climatic conditions, but in the short run they may yield more profit. So there is a trade-off between maintaining natural resources, uh, taking higher profits from the same land for the small farm. And climate risk, we all know the climate risks are there nowadays. There is more frequent droughts are there, more frequent droughts are there, more frequent floods are there, and dry spells are there, prolonged dry spells are there, early withdrawal of the monsoon is there, a late onset of the monsoon is there. These are all the climatic aberrations which are coming with this, increased greenhouse gases, etc. And that is damaging especially the dry land because already these dry lands are moisture stressed. There is no moisture available in the soil. So if there is a dry spell, irrigated farmer easily can irrigate crop and they save the crop. There is a stable production. But in case of rain-fed farmers, if there is a dry spell, if there is a drought, immediately is 100% crop will be failed. So the vulnerability of these dry land is much higher in the rain-fed areas. And again, there are some shallow depth of soil. You see, Telangana region, shallow depth. The depth of the soil is not more than 1 meter. Very poor. And poor water holding capacity and subsurface hard pans. In some of the ponds, subsurface hard pans are there. Even in those conditions, we cannot even dig the borewell. We cannot even maintain water and watershed, check dams or farm ponds, etc. That is a big problem. Poor vegetation. Whenever there is a vegetation, the soil moisture will be increasing because vegetation will cover, will act as a mulch on the soil. When there is a mulch, the soil moisture will be much higher. When there is no vegetation, there is a drought condition, the entire soil moisture will be evaporated through evapotranspiration. The soil moisture will be evaporated. There will not be any biodiversity on the soil. There will not be any moisture in the soil. The crops will be failed. Poor productivity and inefficient biomass cycle, as I mentioned, when there is a poor vegetation, soil moisture will be less, drought conditions will be there, uh, crop productivity will be less. Next, this is how you see. This is very interesting. One thing you see, for example, there is a rain, or is equal to 100% rain. If there is a 100% rain, 10 to 30% below 10 to 30% it leaches away. Water will go away, seeping away from the soil. And 10 to 20% run away on the surface, on surface runoff. 10 to 12%, 25% of the water will go, rainwater will go away, and 10 to 30% will deep percolation. It is not available to the plants, and plants availability for only for this 15 to 30% that will go as a transpiration through plants, and 30 to 50% it will go as a evaporation. So most of the water, whatever coming as a rainfall, it is going as a subsurface deep percolation, uh, or subsurface runoff or evaporation. Only the useful water loss is only transpiration. Useful water loss is only transpiration, 15 to 30%. So our watershed technologies to conserve each drop of the water we need to reduce the deep percolation. We can reduce 10 to 30% of the water loss. Runoff water, we can reduce 10 to 25% runoff water, and evaporation also can be reduced by mulching, etc. So these are all the technologies available now. We can use to increase the productivity. Next. So there are some classifications within the drylands. Dry cultivation. Dry cultivation means precipitation, water, rainfall water is less than 750 mm. Dry cultivation. Growing season is less than 75 days. 75 days is not even 3 months. Very short duration crops like moong dal, urad dal, just 2.5 months the crop will come. Those crops only can be grown under these areas. What are these areas? Dry cultivation, less than 750 mm water rainfall. It is Rajasthan, some parts of the majority of the Rajasthan desert, Thar desert. Those are the dry cultivation. And again, the dryland cultivation precipitation over 750 to 750 mm to 1150 mm dry land cultivation. Some parts of Gujarat, some parts of Maharashtra, and some parts of Karnataka, Telangana, and Andhra comes in this dry land cultivation. Again, the rain-fed cultivation is wherever the entire cultivated land is rain-fed dependent, the rainfall, but the rainfall is more than 1150 mm. 1150 mm. That means a little bit more reasonably high rainfall, rain-fed cultivation. So, dry lands are classified into dry cultivation, which are in Rajasthan, Thar desert, dry lands, which are in Maharashtra, Vidarbha type of thing, rain-fed cultivation, which are mostly in eastern parts of India. What are the eastern parts of India? Orissa, West Bengal, northeastern parts, where land is dependent uh, on rainfall. There is no irrigation facility, but there is a possibility of cultivating 2 crops per year by conserving soil as well as water. So that is what. So India has almost 108 million hectares of rainfed zone, which constitute 75% of the entire 143 million hectares of arable land. So 75% of our no, our cultivated land is comes under these rain-fed zones, which are reclassified as dry cultivation, dry land cultivation, and rain-fed cultivation. Next. So I don't want to go into details, but it shows about 78% of the rainfall comes in the monsoon, June to September. 78% of the monsoon. The remaining pre-monsoon is 9%, post-monsoon is 10%. So generally what Indian cultivation, monsoon is a Kharif season crop, rainy season crop. Post-monsoon, we need to conserve soil moisture, this 70%, 78% of the rainfall, and use that moisture into post-rainy Rabi season. Rabi season means September, October, November, December. If you conserve the rainwater and use in the Rabi season, then your cropping intensity will be increased. Why we have to conserve water? Because in the rainy season, crops require only about 50% of the rainfall. What that 50% is of the rainfall is sufficient for growing crops in the Kharif season. Remaining 50% excess rainfall, excess water can be conserved and used in the Rabi season to grow the second crop. So that is very, very important. In the rainy season, in the 4 months from June to September, in most of the parts, even Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, all these states, the moisture, the rainfall is more than 50% of the optimum water requirement of the crops growth. So 50% is excess. That 50% you have to conserve in the post-monsoon season. You have to grow the Rabi season. to grow the Rabi season crops. Next. So this is also again one thing, aridity index. So aridity index, arid zones. You see arid zones here, semi-arid. Arid zone is this aridity index means this very low rainfall, very high precipitation, and potential evapotranspiration. Heavy, very low rainfall, low rainfall. We can say simply in the low rainfall regions, arid and semi-arid areas falls. In the arid region, the rainfall is less than 500 mm. In the semi-arid regions, rainfall is less than 1000 mm. So whenever the rainfall falls below 750 mm or 500 mm, it is impossible to grow any crop on those lands. Only we can grow some specified crops. Next. So I mentioned the global distribution of the drylands. You see, some parts of, especially western parts of, you go from the America, western parts of America. These are all the low population density areas, and some parts of the Southern America. Majority of the northern Sub-Saharan Africa. This is called Sub-Saharan Africa, Northern Africa and South Africa. And also you see Arab countries. All Arab countries are drylands, like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Most of these areas are drylands. Some parts of Andhra Pradesh, especially you start from Rajasthan, Gujarat, some parts of Haryana, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, even Tamil Nadu, some parts. And Australia, you see, entire Australia, except coastal belt, entire Australia is drylands. So next. So India, what is the distribution? So most driest areas, arid areas, as I mentioned, you see this set, that Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and some parts of Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, most of the parts of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. All these red areas are dryland areas. You see which crops are grown in these dryland areas? Mostly traditionally millets, pulses like red gram, urad, moong, lentil, and oilseeds like groundnut, sunflower. All these oilseeds, millets like sorghum, ragi, pearl millet, foxtail millet, all the millets, and mostly cotton also, mostly grown in these belts. But the thing is that, if you see, there is a technological breakthrough in cotton. Cotton productivity increased significantly during these last 10, 20 years, from 2000 onwards, with the introduction of the BT cotton. All these dry zones become, within a short span of 5 to 7 years, they have become hotbeds for this cotton cultivation. Cotton productivity increased. Even Gujarat, Maharashtra, pockets of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, some Karnataka, with the productivity increase, with the adoption of the BT cotton varieties, productivity of these zones are really increased during the last 20 years. But still, they are suffering from the weather aberrations. Next. So again, so the drought-prone areas, these are all the dryland areas. But where is the most likelihood of drought-prone? Very frequent droughts. You see, again, where is that slide? Hello.
Yeah, we are trying to connect again.
So these are all the most drought-prone districts. So you see the Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. So we are superimposing on drought-prone areas with a very high agricultural vulnerability. Again, the more or less similar. The agricultural vulnerability is also much higher in these dryland areas. Although with the new technologies, the productivity increased, but profits increased, but there is a high fluctuations in crop yields and profitability. As a result, every once in 3 years, sometimes twice in 3 years, there is a drought situation. There are some conditions of crop failures we are seeing in these drought-prone districts. Next. So the again the classification now the government of India is a classified rain-fed agriculture as a wherever for example in a wherever village, whichever village or blocks or mandals or districts, if there is a 30% or less than 30% of the area is irrigated, that means more than about 70% or up to more than 70% of area is rain fed. Those districts or those blocks are classified as rain fed areas. So what is the rain fed area? If the irrigated area is less than 30%, if the irrigated area of the particular village is less than 30%, then it is classified as rain fed area, whether it's a district or block. What are the technologies we have to use? Water management technologies are very, very important, because in the rain-fed areas, in the dryland areas, most constrained input is water constraint. So water management or in situ conservation or ex situ water harvesting for supplemental irrigation are very, very important. Watershed-based water management is backbone. Watershed-based water management is the backbone for overall land productivity improvement in the rain-fed areas. Rain-fed agriculture covers all the climates and several annual crops. Contribute about rain-fed areas again they contribute about, although they are about 50% of the cropped area, they contribute about 44% of the food grain production. And they also contribute about 40% of the population. They support 40% of the population, human population. And they support about 2/3 of the livestock. So the importance of the rain-fed areas or drylands are very, very significant even now, as they contribute about 44% of the food grain production. They support about 40% of the human population, and also they support 2/3 of the livestock population. That means about 66% of the livestock population. Next. So you see that I don't want to go into this. This is already covered. Next. Next. Problems of dryland areas. So what are the main problems of the drylands? Is early drought. Early drought means, for example, the onset of the monsoon. We all know now we are in the onset of the monsoon. Just within one day or 2 days, even onset will start in Andhra Pradesh. Telangana, I think it is already started. But sometimes what happened, once there is an onset, immediately there is a drought situation. Drought means about continuously 2 weeks, there is a no rainfall. Continuously 2 weeks, there is no rainfall. Then if you sow the seed with the onset of the monsoon, entire seed will not be germinated. The entire crop will be failed. Because germination, the soil moisture is important. At least every third day or every week, there should be some rainfall. But once there is the onset of the monsoon, immediately after that, there is a 2 week dry spell. Without moisture, without rainfall, all these seeds will not be germinated. The germination failure will be there. 70% of the crop will be lost. So that is the main problem faced by the farmers in the recent years. Again, you see terminal drought. What is terminal drought? Recently, in India, wheat production decreased by about 10%. Why? Because there was a terminal drought. Drought in the month of April, February, March and April, where the wheat crop will be harvested, March and April, the temperatures are very high. No, if for example, terminal drought, what if, for example, we are growing some red gram. So there is no rainfall in the month of September. So entire crop will be failed. Cotton you are growing, it's a 6 months crop. Cotton is a 6 months crop from June, July, August, September, October. But there is no rainfall in the terminal month. Terminal month, what is the terminal month? September is the terminal month for the monsoon. Monsoon will end in the September. But if there is no monsoon, no rainfall in the September, entire crops of red gram, which are and also cotton will be lost, because these are the long duration crops. You need to have at least 2-3 rains in the month of September. Then only we can save these crops. Next. So I don't want to go into details. That I'm explaining only one thing here. The top left side figure. You see that this is the rainfall, red. The excess rainfall in the June, July, August, September. But the rainfall will subside, rainfall will come down, but the demand for water to grow the rabi crop, to grow the second crop will increase. Only if you save this peak rainfall season, means July, August, September, you conserve water in July, September, October in farm pond, and farm pond, you fill the farm pond during the July, August, September, where the rainfall is there, and use that rainwater, harvested water in the month of, say, for example, October, November, December, to grow the second crop like chickpea or some other crop. You will get 2 crops instead of 1 crop if you use watershed technologies. Next. So next, CRIDA Institute. We as an institute, Central Research Unit for Dryland Agriculture, we are developing some plans, action plans for drought proofing or drought mitigation. Basic is the status district agricultural contingency plan. What is district agricultural contingency plan? For example, if there are in the July month there is a good rainfall, July, August, but after August there is no rainfall, entire cotton crop in cotton belt, entire red gram in the red gram belt is failed. And so what are the alternatives? Alternatives is you grow cattle, you grow sheep or goat on this crop residue which is available on the land. That is one option. Livestock rearing, using standing crop vegetation as a livestock feed or fodder. That is one. This is a contingency plan. The other one is, for example, there is a June, there is a rainfall. We sow the seed. After 2-3 months, There is no rainfall at all for 1 month. Entire germinated plants or small plants will be dried out. Then under those circumstances, if for example another rainfall occurred after month of August, then they can grow some short duration contingency crop, short duration maize. 2 3 months maize crop will come, short duration moong dal, urad, or pulse crop or some oil seed crop, short duration variety crops you can grow. These are all contingency plans. As a CRIDA, Central Institute for Dryland Agriculture, we developed contingency plans for all the 750 districts in India. Whenever there is a drought spell, whenever there is a early withdrawal of the rainfall, whenever the late onset of the monsoon, whenever there is a long drought spell, we are having contingency plan. What farmers has to do, which alternative crops farmers has to sow in the same field, or how they can rear the cattle, how they can rear the goat or sheep, the alternative income sources, how farmers can get some alternative income sources. Next. So this I don't want to go into details. This okay, leave it. Next. Next. I already mentioned it. Next. So again, we are having a NICRA. Now, previous slide. NICRA, National Innovations in Climate Resilient Agriculture. Nowadays, the climate resilient agriculture. So, for example, what is the simple words climate resilient agriculture? No, whatever there is some weather aberrations, early droughts, late onset of the monsoons, or dry spells, or floods, how you can ensure a minimum income on the farmers field. That is called climate resilient. Whatever the climate situation, farmers should get some minimum income, minimum food security, minimum livestock, etc., etc. So we are having some technologies. We are developing some type of climate resilient technologies under this NICRA project. To validate and demonstrate these technologies in association with the Krishi Vigyana Kendras on farmers' fields, we are strengthening the capacity of the scientists across India to familiarize with the climate resilient technologies so that they can disseminate the climate resilient agriculture to the farmers' field, etc. Next. So we are having some about 23 ICR units, technology demonstration in 151 centers, and capacity building. All these are components. These are all some of the centers, locations across India. We are having these many centers under the NICRA project. In the NICRA project, we are adopting some villages, some clusters. We are calling climate smart villages, climate smart clusters. In those clusters, we are demonstrating short duration varieties to escape the drought situations, late terminal drought situations, short duration varieties of the crops. Or we are demonstrating integrated cropping systems like mixed cropping or crop rotations, crop sequences, and the farming systems. As a systems approach, we are developing this type of, and also we are demonstrating watershed technologies, check dams, and how we can include the livestock, chicken, goat, sheep, and poultry, and also cattle, dairy, etc., etc., to increase farmers' income, not only increase farmers' income, to provide farmers with regular income source. Next. So these are all some of the centers which I mentioned. Climate resilient agriculture. Climate resilient agriculture is having 4 components. The first is crop production system. It is a crop production system. Next is natural resource management. Crop production is very, very important because farmers needs incomes. Natural resource management because you have to conserve soil and conserve water That is called natural resource management. And livestock and fisheries are integral part to having a regular income, enabling support systems, custom herring centers, etc. Because why custom herring centers? Because a small farmer is having 1 acre, 2 acre. Purchasing a tractor, purchasing a tiller is not at all profitable to small farmers. We have to invariably build some custom hiring services or marketing source services to these small farmers so that they can reap the scale economies. At least they can hire 1 or 2 hours. They can plow their land without owning that 5-6 lakh worth of cattle, worth of tractors. Next. So these are all the some of the things. Village climate risk management committees. We formed the committees of the farmers to guide, to supervise all the works under this climate resilient villages. We established custom hiring centers. We established seed banks. Why seed banks? For example, we sow the seed, then there is a drought spell, entire seed germination fail. Then we need some alternate source of seed. That alternate source of seed is seed banks within the local areas like ragi, pearl millet, pulses, oil seeds, etc. They use those seeds and they resow the in the same plot. Fodder banks. Next, fodder banks are very important. Next. So next, I think next some of the technologies I will show. Next. I don't want to go into details. Next, I don't want to go all these things. Managing droughts, yes. So these are all next. I think time is not there. Some figures I will show. So under this, just before this. Okay, next. So, for example, what are the benefits? If we follow dryland technologies, we are generally agri-silvi, agri-horticulture, silvi-pastoral. Pasture is very important for livestock feeding. Agri-horticulture is also very important. Some trees, they can easily sustain the droughts. Horticulture crops, they can easily sustain the droughts once the plantations grow beyond 3 to 4 years. And silvi agriculture, agroforestry also there. Once the plants grow 3 to 4 years, then really they can tolerate to all the drought conditions. Next. Again, you see water tanks, farm ponds, and check dams. These are the very important technologies to conserve water. Because why conserve water? We have to conserve rainwater either in the soil itself, so mulching, etc., zero tillage, etc., and or also you can conserve this water into water tanks or farm ponds or check dams. Next. So what are the benefits in for example, in one half an acre farm pond, what you can grow multiple crops. The farmer in the tribal villages, he grow groundnut with the farm pond technology. He grow okra, some vegetables, carrot, maize, so many other crops. He grown green gram and also red gram, etc. And also a lot of vegetables. We met the vegetable needs of the local country. So next. So again, short duration crops. For example, mung bean, it is just 2 months crop. Coffee, it is also just 2 months crop. For example, if the rainfall is just 750 mm or 500 mm, it is better to grow this type of crops in the rainy season. Mung bean or coffee, etc. Next. And field plants with pasture grass. For example, when the main crop is failed, you grow pasture grasses. They can resist droughts, and you can grow sheep or goat or any other animals for that they will give regular income to the farmers. Livestock generally they will give regular income to the farmers. Next. Again, early cropping of sorghum and sorghum. You see sorghum and some lucena, because these are all, uh, cereal plus pulses crops. Silvipastoral system, trees and sorghum. Trees are very, very important component of this dryland technologies. Agroforestry, silvipasture, early cropping, all these things. All these things, trees are very, very important because they can sustain, can overcome the droughts, even floods, any type of situation they can overcome. Next. Again, some of the farm implements like zero tillage, huh? You see direct seeded seed plantations. Direct seeding is now becoming more popular in these all the rainfed areas because it will reduce the cost. At the same time, it will reduce the plant growing period. Growing period it will reduce. It will save the water. Huh? It will mature 10 days early, and it will enhance the yield productivity also. Direct seeding wheat and direct seeding paddy are becoming more popular in the especially in the rainfed areas, in the dryland areas. Next. So this type of intercropping, you can see groundnut plus pigeon pea, maize plus pigeon pea, soybean plus pigeon pea, soybean plus pigeon pea, cotton, green gum, etc. Because these the mixed crops or crop rotations or intercrops, all these will be very effective insurance again, very effective insurance against drought spells, dry spells. You see, if one crop is failed, other crop will be successful. So that is a natural insurance against a crop failure in the drought conditions. Next. So I don't want to go into details. I think next. I will stop here probably. Any questions or something like that, please let me. I think already, what is the time now?
It's 4.
Okay. I think we can stop. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the detailed presentation. I'll quickly take up some questions now. Okay. So, first question is, what percentage of agriculture in India are under dry land farming?
It is, as I mentioned, over the years, especially in the recent years, there is every government, all the governments, state governments and central government try to increase irrigated area. Earlier, it is we thought that earlier it is 60% rain fed, 40% irrigated. Now it is 50-50. 50% irrigated, 50% rain fed. Because in the last 10-20 years, most of the governments invested hugely on irrigation, canal irrigation, borewell irrigation. Especially there is a lot of expansion of area under borewell irrigation. As a result, rain-fed area decreased from 40% of our cultivated land to now it is about increased from 60% to reduced from 60% to 50%. 50% is the rain-fed or dryland areas.
Okay. And next question is, what are the main characteristics of dryland agriculture?
So main characteristics, you see the main limiting factor in the dryland areas is moisture, water stress conditions. Because under these circumstances, dryland areas, there is no irrigation water available. Entire agriculture, livestock, and human beings has to depend on the rainfall. So when there is a good rainfall and distributed rainfall, there will not be any problem. But in Indian monsoon conditions, rainfall is distributed only in 4 months: June, July, August, September. But crops, human beings, and animals require water throughout the year, 12 months. So there is a need to, means 4 months rainfall is excess, about 50%, 40%, or excess rainfall is there in this 4 months. So this excess rainfall water has to be conserved in the soil in situ, or ex situ means outside the soil. You construct check dam, farm pond, or any water harvest structure. You store those rainwater harvested, and that water can be used in the uh, remaining months. The main characteristic is generally climate aberrations, its vulnerability is much higher. Only single crop is grown, rain-fed crop is grown. Next to Rabi crop, there is no Rabi crop. And farmers are fragmented, small farmers. They mostly depend on the livestock, cattle or sheep or goat type of things. And every alternate year or every once in 3 years, crop used to be built. There is a lot of risk in the crop cultivation. These are all some of the characteristics of and there is a need for crop diversification. And the share of these pulses, oil seeds, and millets are much higher in these lands, whereas and the incomes is much less when compared to the paddy and wheat. Farmers' incomes are less. Farmers need to get lot of employment from off-farm income, off-farm employment, or non-farm employment type of things.
Okay. And next question is, what are the main means of irrigation in drylands?
What are the means of irrigation in drylands?
Yes.
So in the drylands, there is no permanent irrigation source. Government is not digging the borewells. Once you are having borewell irrigation, that means it is not a irrigated area. It is not a dry land. It is an irrigated land. But in the dryland areas, what you can do, you conserve rainwater. You conserve the rainwater in terms of water harvest structures, farm ponds, community ponds, or check dams. Use that water during the lean season or during the Rabi season where there is no rainwater available. That is the only source of water in the drylands. And another major source is, for example, there rain is coming in this soil, but you can also conserve this rain into the same soil, like thoroughly plowing. You can putting mulching, plastic mulch or vegetative mulch or biomass mulch, whatever the mulch. That mulch will conserve lot of soil water, and that water will be used for the next season also by the soil, by soil organisms, or the soil moisture can be used for the next crop. So that is called in situ soil conservation. And through check dams, farm ponds, or community plants, that is called ex situ soil conservation. There are two conservation type of technologies. One is in situ, same 1 acre of land, whatever the rainfall is coming, that you can conserve through soil mulching, plastic mulches, vegetative cover, etc., etc. And this is called in situ conservation of moisture. The ex situ is soil conservation in the check dams or in the farm ponds or in the community ponds. Other than these two sources, there is no irrigation source from the outside. You should not Once you give the irrigation from outside, like borewell or like the canal or that some water tank, then it is not called as a dry land. It is called as a irrigated land. You got it?
Yes, sir. Okay, I'll take up 2 to 3 more questions. Looking at it globally, which countries has the largest percentage of land in dry and agriculture?
So, in the most largest area is in African countries, largest area, and the largest area is in Australian country, Australia continent, Australia and Africa. These areas, largest areas are the, even America. America, what happened? You see the eastern part, Washington, New York, all these big cities are there in the eastern part, but western parts, all these are all dry areas. No agriculture is there. So that is the dry lands. In the Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, you must have seen Nigeria, Ethiopia, all these so Sudan, this type of countries, all these are all dry lands. Whereas in Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Iraq, means Afghanistan, dryland areas. Even India, a lot of drylands are there.
Okay. And next question is rain-fed area also classified as dry land agriculture?
Drylands are subset of the rain-fed areas. Rain-fed areas is every land which is depending on the rainfall is rain-fed area. But dryland is whenever there is a less than 750 rainfall, that is called dryland. Where if the rainfall is more than more than 1100, it is called rain-fed. If the rainfall is between 750 and 1100 that is called real dryland. But dry cultivation, dry land, rain-fed areas, all this comes under the rain-fed areas.
Okay. And next question is, for an individual dryland farmer, what advice or ideas you can share?
Huh?
For an individual dryland farmer, what advice or ideas can you share?
Okay, first thing is water is very important in drylands. Water, how you conserve the water, that is the most important only one factor. Whether, as I mentioned, in situ conservation or ex situ conservation, soil mulching, biomass, etc., or the farm ponds, community pond, check dams, watershed management, all these. These are the primary thing. Next, you earn half of the income from the livestock like sheep rearing, goat rearing, or dairy farms, and half income from the crops. That too, not a single crop, double or mixed crops, intercropping, crop rotation, pulses, oil seeds, millets. These are all the drought resistance crops, and agroforestry, silvipasture. All these are all drought mitigating crops. You have to follow all these. Then definitely, farmers' income in dryland agriculture will be increased.
Okay, I'll take up one last question. Is dryland area increasing in India in recent years?
No, actually, dryland area in India is decreasing actually. Earlier, it is 60% of the total cultivated area. Now it is 60% to 50%, is reduced to 50%. 60% to it reduced to 50% of the cultivated area. Why? Every state government putting lot of investment on irrigation, canal irrigation, borewell irrigation, drip irrigation, tank, village tank, all this increase the irrigated area. So irrigated area increased from 40% of the total cultivated area to 50%. And rain-fed areas or dryland area decreased from 60% to 50%.
Okay, sir. We have few more questions, but since we are running short of time, we need to close this meeting. The participants will reach out to you directly. I've shared your contact information with our participants.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have come to end of question round. Agricultureinformation.com likes to thank Dr. A. Amarender Reddy for a detailed presentation and answering all the questions in detail. And we also like to thank for all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.